Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we're going to preview Week 13. But before we do that, Maddie, anybody who's watching this, you're a huge football fan. I already know it, or you wouldn't be watching me and Maddie do this. So go out and go over and check out Savage Football NFL memes. Brett is over there living it up on that group. He's bringing you everything you want to see. Once this league is over for the NFL, he's getting into the XFL, the USFL, spring leagues. Brett will bring you it all, and he will keep it popping over there. So go check out Savage Football NFL memes.
Yeah, it's usually where Jay gets involved in some argument or something like that with to do with a meme or something. No, it's where there's loads of great conversations going on, and it's where we like to gauge where you guys are, and you guys don't engage as much with our posts on our page, but you do engage with our posts on other pages. And Savage Football is where we kind of get where you guys are all coming from and what you think of our video. We absolutely love them, and go check them out.
All right, guys, we're going to hit Week 13. But before we do this, and I didn't even tell Maddie this, I'm going to put him kind of on the spot. We kind of got to do a little recap of that Monday night game because that thing was awful, but Washington pulled out the win. Washington's now the 7th seed in the playoffs. So we'd be remiss if we didn't shout that out before we started the Week 13 preview because when we recorded the last, they hadn't even played yet. So I wanted to put you on the spot, man.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, the Seahawks are garbage and they should tank for the rest of the season is what I kind of got from it. I'm not like the Washington football team, don't get me wrong, sleeping giant. I reckon they could go on a run from here, and that's great because they play the fucking Cowboys twice, but never mind. But they definitely could go on a run from here. They have their defense should be getting better and better and better. It shouldn't have been this bad all last year. And Taylor Heineke he's an NFL quarterback, man. He's not just a guy, you know.
Do you think the Vikings are just fucking kicking themselves in the front office, being like, we had this dude on our practice squad and now here he is?
I think what might have happened is that it's that thing, right, isn't it, where the top 5 guys are above everybody, and then the next 10 are all in their own league, and then the 15 to 25 down, maybe even down to the next 15 to 20, they're all solid franchise quarterbacks. Taylor Heineke's starting to push that, but 21 to about 40, 42, the difference is confidence, professionalism, the will to win, that kind of stuff. That's where
sometimes your intangibles,
that's where your intangibles kind of come in. And I think Taylor Heineke getting that start and playing that lights out, because he played a totally different style of football then, where if he played like that every week, he'd get killed. But that confidence that he gained from that going against Tom Brady has kind of helped him out into his new situation.
Right, and oddly, you don't see it often in the NFL. We have seen it with Brandon Weeden and stuff like that, but essentially, because he's been in the league on a practice squad for a few years, but he's a 28-year-old rookie almost essentially, which is pretty impressive. All I was thinking, if you were the Vikings and you would have known what you had in him, not that he could be not that you want him to start, but what kind of you're in a better situation going into next year with Kirk Cousins in his last season, where you're of his contract, you could be oh, we got the young guy, Kellen Mond. We got maybe the best backup in the league in Taylor Heineke. So let's see what happens with Kirk. But not to get on a Vikings tangent, Taylor Heineke is playing well enough right now. Like you said, he's playing better than, I don't know, half the quarterbacks in the league. I mean, you got Sam Darnold. Right, Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, these guys aren't looking great. Mayfield, there's a lot of guys out there that I can just keep listing. I'm just very impressed with a guy who was either bagging groceries or selling insurance. You know what I mean?
The one thing I do love about this, I really, really, really love about this is Taylor Heineke is playing just well enough that the Washington football team now won't get in any discussions about Deshaun Watson or any of those Aaron Rodgers top-level quarterbacks.
I still think they would,
well enough.
keep praying. Just quick before we touch on week 13, I got to say something here. I know I got blasted this morning, and I said what I said, and I stand by it, but it was taken the wrong way by some of you. I was not calling Pat McAfee a bitch. What I was saying is every time Boston Connor runs to his defense, and I love Boston Connor, and he's like, oh, scumbag, dirtball. You make Pat look like a bitch, like he can't defend himself. That's all I was saying is Boston Connor is kind of doing Pat some disservice by protecting him all the time. I was not calling Pat a bitch. All right, we can move on.
Hey, man, that might be the way to get us on the Pat McAfee show if we just start calling him a bitch from here, you know?
Right.
They're just explaining it's a misunderstanding. Our boy Shinigami's got us, you know?
Right. So on to week 13, Maddie, and that's tonight, Thursday night football. Cowboys Saints. The Saints team is pretty much all out for the game. Taysom Hill sighting is what we're going to see. But when it came to the Cowboys, now I'm going to say I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game. But before I knew who was all out on the Saints, I'm not saying I was going to pick the Saints, but where I was questioning is I'm like, oh, the coaches are out. There's a lot of dudes out for the Cowboys too, right? So I was thinking, is their head coach being out going to hurt them? And in most cases, it's a yes. I actually think your head coach being out might be a positive, not a negative, because you got guys on there that can coach. You got a guy stepping up that's already been a head coach, been in a Super Bowl. Like, I don't think you guys got much to worry about. Might have better clock management without Mike McCarthy. So I came to the conclusion that it's actually might be a benefit for the Cowboys that McCarthy's not coaching.
We've got stronger because Mike McCarthy's out. No, I'm not sure whether I push it that far. Obviously, you always want continuities. You want continuity and stuff as you go forward. Stability was the other word that I was trying to go for there. Continuity and stability going into games with your coaching staff. But I get what you're saying. I'm very happy with Dan Quinn going in as the temporary head coach, Kellen Mond calling all the plays. It's very much what it's been like all year. Dan Quinn might watch the clock a little bit more, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. What I am worried about is the Cowboys' inability to win in the past few. Like, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games that were all winnable. The Chiefs only scored 19 points. That's winnable. The Raiders game, we lost by 3. That's the first time that Dak Prescott's lost in an overtime game. I found out this week. That's the first time he's lost in overtime. The guy's a big-time player. He just didn't do it last week, and that worries me. Is that a symptom? Is there something going on there? That kind of stuff. The Broncos game, I still believe, is an anomaly. The Chiefs game, we had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of injuries. Those guys are coming back this week. Amari Cooper may still be a little ill and a bit of a blocked nose and shit, but he'll play. D-Law's coming back. He's playing. Tyron Smith, I'm not entirely sure about. I haven't particularly looked. I've been at school all day, so I haven't kept up fully. But I picked last week saying that we were going to roll the Raiders, thinking they were all coming back for that game. But now I think they're coming in to stop the slide on this game. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win. Also, the Saints are not looking in good shape. The only other more injured team in the NFL.
I bet you'll agree with this statement, though. If you guys do not win this game, you might be in trouble because that'll be a 3-game slide. You come into – don't you have all your divisional road games still left, too, and that kind of thing?
If we weren't in such a shitty division, we'd be in trouble, yeah. But like
right, but no, you lose Eagles 3 in a row, though. That might be a snowball. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
A bad team.
I agree. I just think we lose 3 in a row, but a lot of our star players coming in were not part of that 3 in a row, or they've all been missing at some point for that 3 in a row. All of them, apart from Dak Prescott. But CeeDee Lamb's back from his concussion protocols.
It's week 13. Every team can say that.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with you. Apart from the fact we did lose a lot of injuries. I agree we're not as good as I thought we were 3 weeks ago or at the start of November even, but we are still good enough to put away this Saints team, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I won't be watching this game because I've got to teach some 15-year-olds at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the game doesn't finish until 5 in the morning. So I won't be watching it live. I'll be watching the 40 minutes. So, Jay, I'm telling you this now while I remember, do not text me. And no, none of you fuckers, if any of you are watching this right now, none of you fuckers message me at all. I'm going to delete all of my social media shit as soon as we're done filming this, right? If any of you ruin this game for me, I will end you. Like,
hey, any of Maddie's friends who have his phone number, text that motherfucker at 4:30.
Jay. The millennials like myself, we don't text anymore. It's only over the internet, so I can easily turn all of that shit off. So we're fine.
You guys don't text anymore. Okay. Well, we'll move on to a game that I'm nervous about, the Vikings Lions, and it's only because the Vikings for the last 3 weeks have been playing a D end at D tackle or a D tackle at D end because our D line is so fucking beat up. Breland can play for like 2 quarters and then forgets football. And Patrick Peterson, he did cramp up coming back, but he was off for a few weeks. But besides Peterson, that the corners, not the safeties, the corners scare me. But I'm not saying this, so don't crush me because I've had it a lot today. There's a lot of people on the internet, pundits, and I even heard it on Pat McAfee today, screaming for Dan Campbell to be fired already.
I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I
think it's because he acted like a fucking clown with the bite the kneecap things off. And I know some people liked it, but it rubbed a lot of people like me the wrong way. Like, dude, what are you coaching kids? And now that you're losing, I think all of that's coming back to bite him from that rah-rah shit.
But I think they've played that rah-rah football. Like, I think this is like, think of how shocking the Detroit Lions have been for the past, obviously, they've been garbage for like 40 years. They've been in a rebuild for 40 years. But think about how bad it's been for the past 3, right? Think about how terrible they've been, right? And Dan Campbell's come back and he's got them a draw against the Steelers. They should have beaten the Ravens. They should have beaten the Vikings. The reasons they lost, none of them were actually anything to do with him. It's not like his clock management's like Mike McCarthy's, is it? It's like he's got them into a situation where they should have won and they haven't won. I really like Dan Campbell as the coach of the Detroit Lions. I do understand why people are asking him to get the sack, but who are they going to get that's better? Who's going to go coach Detroit?
I do not think they should fire him after 1 year, but I will say I am also glad he's the coach of the Lions because it makes me feel like they're going to be shit for another 5-6 years. I'm not sold on him. But that's just because I was never the guy, and maybe it's just a personal thing. Rah-rah coaches annoyed me. Just tell me what you want, tell us how to do it, and get out of my way. But this is coming from, you don't get a lot of rah-rah in hockey, and I grew up playing hockey. So coaches are more angry in hockey than this, so it might just be a personal thing for me.
I just think he's the kind of person that needed to bring in that rah-rah shit. He might not really be like that to the players. It's more of a organization, cultural thing. Like, if you come into our house, we're gonna fucking bite your kneecaps off. If you fire him, you're starting all over again. After you just traded off Stafford, you got to let this guy's vision come through, even if it blows up in your face. Yeah, it's not fair for him to have to rebuild this team in 1 year. Jared Goff's his quarterback. Jared Goff's a decent quarterback in the NFL, but he's not your rah-rah guy's quarterback, is he? Like, he's not the guy that Dan Campbell wants. This isn't a Freddie Kitchens situation like what happened with the Browns. Like, Dan Campbell can actually coach. Like, we know he can coach, whereas Freddie Kitchens is probably not. Is a totally different kettle of fish.
After watching football this year, I came to a comparison on Jared Goff, and it is Jared Goff is Flacco without the ring.
Yeah, possibly. But definitely.
Decent, serviceable. You give him a mad defense, he might be able to do something, but he ain't going to put a team on your back, and he might fuck around and lose you a game.
Yeah, if you give him a fantastic offensive coach like he had in Sean McVay, then he's more than capable of running that offense. But in Detroit, they don't have those weapons. And to move on to the game that we're talking about, their biggest weapon, as far as I'm concerned, Deandre Swift is out with it. So
yeah, well, it's both teams playing without their starting running back, which I don't know which one it hurts more. It might hurt Minnesota more. It might hurt Detroit more. Maybe just Detroit because Minnesota's got other offense. But this game makes me nervous. The Lions always play us fucking tough. The Vikings are not playing the way I wanted them to this year. They're not playing up to the talent. And yeah, there's a lot of injuries, but that shit was going sideways before the injuries. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I got the Vikings winning this game, but I don't feel good about picking either team.
yeah, I think that the reverse game was so close that it's gonna make you nervous. And I think your backup running back is like he smoked an 100-yard game when he first came in last time. So I wouldn't be too unbelievably worried about that. I've been thinking about picking him for my fantasy team, to be perfectly honest. But
he's not there. So if you have him, you're good, but he's not there. I looked this morning. I am not out of the playoffs, but I am not a guy who's going to stop playing because there's still matchups. So I will keep playing even though I'm out of the playoffs. Give myself a little consolation prize. I am in first place in my other league, so I feel a little bit better, but those playoffs don't start till next week.
Vikings for me. Vikings win this game just because they've got Kirk Cousins at quarterback and he's a shit ton better than Jared Goff.
Well, Buccaneers, Falcons, Buccaneers, I'm done.
You see, this is one of the weird games where the Falcons actually would come up, isn't it? Like, this is one of the
division game.
They're really good in their division. Like, it's the only time they play all right. And the Bucs haven't been firing 100% on all cylinders. Look, I'm still picking the Bucs, but I just wouldn't run off like that because Cordell Patterson's playing like an absolute monster. Kyle Pitts is an absolute monster who will soon, and he better do this week because it's looking very close in fantasy team, will pop off regularly in the NFL as soon as he gets over his rookie season. Bucs to win this one, but not as clear-cut a thing as people may think.
Yeah, well, if the Bucs lose this one, I'd be shocked. If the Falcons play them tough, I wouldn't. But talking about the Cardinals Bears now, I got the Cardinals, and the only thing I got to say to the Bears is don't bring Justin Fields back this week. Don't do it.
Why would you bring him back this week? What do you have to gain from bringing him back this week?
Death.
Andy Dalton, just leave him. Just put Andy Dalton in because you can build a culture with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is not going to lose you a game. He actually won you a game last week. Did they win? No. He came very close to winning you a game last week. Did they win last week?
He went 2-3. That's all I remember because weeks blend. But out of 3 games, I'm thinking Colt McCoy. Sorry, no, the Bears lost last week.
Yeah, the Bears lost, didn't they? But he played well, didn't he? Get like the third most passing.
Oh no, the Bears beat the Lions. That's right, but it was Thursday night. It feels 2 weeks ago.
There we go. That's why we're getting confused.
They barely beat the Lions.
Yeah, they barely beat the Lions, but I don't think that was really down to Andy Dalton. To be perfectly honest, I think Andy Dalton is a perfectly serviceable quarterback who will not lose you a game. I think he's definitely worthy of a starting position. I understand why you would. Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future in Chicago at the minute. And because he's the quarterback of the future, leave him till next season now. He's just broken a rib.
Definitely not this week. You don't want to put him against that Cardinals defense on his first game back.
Yeah, fine. They're the worst possible matchup for him as well. They play Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray is a better version of Justin Fields. They play him every week in practice. You can't show that defense anything that they've not seen from Kyler Murray before. This isn't the time. He'll get killed by Chandler Jones probably. Just leave it for this week. Is it Chandler Jones on the offense? Yeah. I'm having a fucking nightmare here. But I wouldn't bring him back this week. I would leave him. I wouldn't bring him back this season. And if I was, I would wait for one of my games against Detroit or somebody like that. If they got the Jags left to play, somebody who's not going to kill him.
Well, Jags, Rams, and LA. So if the Rams lose this game, I'm off the fucking bandwagon completely. But I think the Rams are going to come out, get right against a Jacksonville team that just isn't talented enough yet.
Yeah. I would Justin Fields back against the New York Giants on the 2nd of January. By the way, that's where I would bring him back. They're not going to hurt a fly. Now they'll break Dak Prescott's leg again. Never mind. Rams against the Jags. This has got to be a Rams game. I can't see it going any other way. And I think they'll go big and get back on track. And I hope they do. Matthew Stafford rain some bombs down to Odell Beckham or Cooper Kupp or just somebody. Like, just open up the arm and just let it loose, because the Jags don't look like they're really, like, they had that little period where they looked like they were going to play everybody really hard, and then they started being the Jags again. So, the Jags will be better next season, I still believe, and Trevor Lawrence is still going to be the guy. But he's not at the minute, and the Jags aren't very good, whereas the Rams should be really fucking good.
Well, Ravens Steelers in Pittsburgh, and if any of you, which a few of you have been, so thank you, watch my videos on the betting lines. This week, I have the Ravens +4 at the Steelers as one of my pick threes for the week. And you guys, like I said on there, go watch, because between the UFC and the NFL, I'm running over 70% on the betting lines. So go over, check that out. But Ravens +4 is what I had on the betting line. So there's no way I'm going to change it on my picks this week. The Ravens rout the Steelers, and I think that Lamar comes back. He looked off. I'm going to chalk that up to him not feeling well the week before and that he still wasn't 100%. Lamar's got something to prove. He comes back. Ravens win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, what I think about the Steelers this season. All of their wins, I'm not particularly sure about, to be honest. I haven't came to them apart from great coaching, but going up a great coach like Jackson and Big Roethlisberger couldn't be any different. And the Steelers, they're just not it for me this season. They're not at all. Whereas the Ravens are still really fucking good, and they will win this game.
All right. To a game that's a divisional game with the Colts Texans, but this is another one. The Colts should win. The Colts better win. And if the Colts don't win, then that says a lot about what's going on with the rest of the season with the Colts, because they could have won last week if they would have just kept feeding Jonathan Taylor, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But I couldn't believe that they let that game get away the way they did, because if they would have just used Jonathan Taylor, they had a really good shot of winning that game.
They're just in a weird position, the Colts, like they're just a really strange team. I like the Colts to win this game, to be perfectly honest. They should really roll this game. Just run the rock, and run the rock again. I really do think they're going to win this game. I can't see it going any other way. They came up again. They got Tom Brady. Last week. That's what he does. But at the same time, they found a way to lose the game, and I find that really, really strange. Carson Wentz is always going to do that kind of shit to you, so just try and take it out of his hands as much as you can.
You're up by 10, run the fucking ball. Up by 10, run the fucking ball. Okay, I'm done.
Let him sprinkle that fucking gold dust that he has in his right arm, but don't let him get rid of it. don't let him sprinkle it all out and then just spray it right to the fucking defense like he normally does.
Well, to a team you just absolutely love, your New York Giants versus the Miami Dolphins. Hey, I think the Dolphins should actually win this game, but I actually think this game could be a lot closer than maybe any other game this week, because both of these teams, I just never know what to expect.
The Dolphins should win this game by the pure fact that they should be better. What have they been doing all season? What is happening to the Miami Dolphins? I went back and I looked at our predictions for the year, and the Dolphins are the one that we're off on like the most. Like the Dolphins, we're way out. And I think most people are. What are they doing? This would be a great time for them to force some turnovers against Daniel Jones, though. he's ready for them. He'll give you some. If the Giants, I'm convinced you'd just try and build a culture if they can. If there's any resemblance of a culture left for them to build, then go for that. I would get rid of Daniel Jones, but not because I think Daniel Jones is the problem. I just think you need a reboot and that kind of stuff, which scares me shitless with Deshaun Watson on the market, but never mind. But they're not playing well. The Dolphins had a good, Tua's looking a bit better. Like he's starting to get the ropes of the NFL a little bit. The Dolphins to win this game.
All right. Well, Eagles, Jets, and I fucking kind of hate the Eagles, but I'm still picking them. I still can't get over that NFC Championship game, but I'm picking the Eagles. I'm picking Jalen Hurts, but I'm not convinced because the Eagles are another team that come out and I'm like, oh, damn, they can play. And then I watch them the next week and it's like, wow, they're shitty.
Yeah, so the Eagles defense are predicted to get 7.2 points on the fantasy team. So I've picked them up to see how I'm feeling before the Cowboys go. Because I've got the Cowboys because they're good for turnovers. Like they'll score you either nothing or they'll score you 15. And they're good for turnovers at the minute this year. So I've got the Cowboys and I've got the Eagles, and I haven't decided which one to put in, but I think I'm picking the Eagles because they're playing against the Jets. It's not because they're any good. I'm going to give the Eagles the win in this game. They've been putting up some big ass numbers every now and again, and the Jets are a team to put those numbers up against. Jalen Hurts is, as you know, if you watch our podcast, we like him a lot. Unfortunately, he plays for the Eagles, but never mind. He'll beat Zach Wilson and the Jets.
Well, Maddie, we've agreed on every game so far, so maybe this would be the one.
Oh my God, we have. Oh, never mind.
This never happens, but we never agree. But this might be the one. Chargers at the Bengals. I got the Bengals, but I would not be shocked if the Chargers win this game. But I like listening to Joe Burrow this week. I think he's got a fire under his ass. And when your quarterback is talking the way he did, I'm like, let's go. He had me pumped after his press conference.
I've got the Bengals as well, but just because I think they're a bad matchup for the Chargers.
It's true.
Like these are two of my sweetheart teams in the NFL. I love both of them. I like Justin Herbert, incredible. He could go off. Joe Burrow, incredible. He could also go off. Just the Bengals are a bit of they've got that rough toughness about them. We're playing in that AFC North that you've got to have. They're the least black and blue of those teams, but Joe Mixon can run the ball, whereas the Chargers don't have that. The Chargers don't have that toughness. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers blow them out of the water with their offensive juggernaut that they sometimes have with Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert as well. But I've got the Bengals to win this one.
All right. I was kind of hoping you'd go the other way because I know you like the Chargers, but I know you like the Bengals too.
It's okay. I've got a few upset picks coming up. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, maybe this is one where we'll disagree. The football team at the Raiders, and I'm sticking with the Raiders, man. I've been riding that Raiders bandwagon since the overtime game against the Ravens. I like the way the Raiders team is playing. I don't love them against the top echelon teams. But against the middle of the roads and the lower teams, I feel like the Raiders should win those games. Wouldn't shock me because Washington's playing all right, but I'm rolling with the Raiders.
Upset of the week, Washington football team to beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
Finally.
The reason that I've got this is because the football team are playing some good football-ish at the minute, and they're in more of a winning habit. The Raiders, I don't understand. We were flagged out of the game so much. I don't understand how it went to overtime. I didn't realize how close it was until 1 minute left in the fourth. I thought we were getting smoked. So I don't understand how it was that close. And I think the way that Taylor Heineke's playing at the minute, in a close game, he'll get you over the edge. And that's not to slag off Derek Carr. This is an upset of the week, which means I acknowledge that the Ravens should probably win the game. But I think the Washington football team have got everything they need to beat them.
All right. Well, on to the 49ers Seahawks, and I'm betting we got the same team on this one, but 49ers win. Seahawks are dead. And I'm going to be cheering for the Seahawks just because it helps my Vikings if the Seahawks win. But I think the Seahawks are dead, and it's the 49ers game to lose.
I would go for the 49ers as well. If I'm the Seahawks, I'm playing dead as well. I am lying that, when was the last time they got a top tier pick? Just a raft of top tier picks. Imagine what they could do with that.
They like to trade away their first round draft picks. So
but imagine what they can get for a top tier first round draft pick as well. Just lay in the water and die. I know Russell Wilson isn't going to let you do that, but to be fair, you might also be able to trade Russell Wilson as well. Imagine, here's a package for whatever we want. Russell Wilson, a host of top tier picks. You know what I mean? I'm sure they won't do that, but it's not a bad play. It's not a bad play to get whoever the fuck you want if you could put that pile together.
Okay, I saw a release from maybe Bleacher Report. I don't remember. Russell Wilson's willing to waive his trade clause to go to Philadelphia next year. Also, but I just think that proves he's gone. I don't think that's necessarily it. But Bears fans, stop. There is no way the Bears are trading for Russell Wilson. I keep seeing this. If you gave up what I keep seeing is pitched is two first and Fields, you're giving up 4 first-round draft picks. It's not happening. Stop it. But I think Danger Russ is gone from Seattle after this year. So I agree with you. Get the top pick, rebuild around the picks you get with Danger Russ, and go from there.
Yeah, they've already won too many games to get the top pick. That's going to the Detroit Lions. They're probably going to, but the Seattle Seahawks in the top 5 of the draft, when was the last time they were there? When Pete Carroll became coach, and that's when he knew all the USC players.
He knew everybody.
He knew every single player ready to go. You know what I mean? Go and get just die. I don't understand why some of these good teams, I understand why Detroit want to try and win every game to build a culture. I understand why Miami want to win every game to try and keep that culture building. The Jags, they've already had loads of first round picks. Keep that,
or even building. A Washington, because they're still in the playoff hunt. But
Washington, they're still in the playoff hunt. But some of those shitty teams, the opposite of that. Some of those teams where they've been good for such a long time, they've got the culture there. They know the expectation is to win Super Bowls. Just lose a couple of games, just enough to get.
Let Russell Singer heal. Sit him.
Yeah, done. Don't ruin his trade worth either. Get 4 first round picks for him and your top your top 5 picks as well. Imagine Seattle, a decently run organization with that kind of draft capital. It's scary to think of.
Even if you could get 2 first and 2 thirds with a top 10 pick on your own, you're talking 3 picks in the first round with 3 in the third. So just go trade him. Get some.
Yeah, imagine the Giants give you 2 first rounds and Daniel Jones. The Giants give you 2 first rounds, Daniel Jones for Russell Wilson. You take that. Or you go to the Texans and say, but Russell Wilson's got a trade bonus clause thing. Doesn't matter. That's not going to happen. But you go to the Saints, they give up whatever they want. You know what I mean? You've got a lot of room to work with there. Just
actually, that same report, just to throw this out here, that same Bleacher Report that said Russell Wilson could go to Philly said that Sean Payton's interested in trading for Kirk Cousins after the year, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins would do fucking wonders in New Orleans.
I actually thought so
Sean
too.
Payton.
He might be scary with Sean Payton.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, back to the 49ers game. We'll talk about draft a bit closer to the time. But back to the 49ers. They're so much better than the Saints all over the field, apart from at quarterback and at safety.
Well,
not that Jamal Adams has had a lot of picks to speak of. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm guessing we got 2 games left, and you said you had a couple upsets, so they're coming. I would almost bet that the Monday night game's your game, but I'm going to start with this Sunday night game. Broncos at Chiefs. I think the Broncos have been playing well. Nobody knows what's up with Teddy right now. Either way, don't care who starts for the Broncos. I think, and if that actually happens, nobody wants to face the Chiefs in the playoffs.
I've got the Broncos winning this game because they run the fucking rock and
There
the
you
Chiefs
go.
can't do it. Like, I've got the Broncos winning this game because they run the rock. They show they can beat those good teams. They also have an absolutely outstanding defense. Let's give them their dues with how well their defense is actually playing. I totally forgot that Teddy Bridgewater is questionable. I'm worried if Drew Lock starts, but if Teddy Bridgewater is starting and they find a way to not lose this game, I can definitely see them winning this game. I don't actually believe the Chiefs have fully got it together yet, to be perfectly honest.
Well, no, I said they're getting it together. It looks like they're getting it together. And if they get it together, nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
100%. But I think if you like, the Broncos are not a team that you want to be getting it together against. Like, they're a team, you can be more talented than the Broncos and absolutely be smashing. But if you are off, they're the kind of team that you don't want to come up against, the classic banana peel team.
And I don't know why nobody wants to say this, but I'll say it. Vic Fangio is not the answer, and you need a new head coach in Denver.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Need a new head coach in Denver, and you've got to be stupid not to want to take that job as well. Like, there's so much going for that job. Any quarterback that's on the market would love to be in Denver, surely.
And their fan base is amazing.
Their fan base is incredible.
Denver's an awesome city.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the city's insane. Colorado's great. I'm not sure about state tax and all of that kind of shit. Like, but you know, when you're earning however much money a year, how much does that really matter? If Odell Beckham wants to live in LA, so you know, right. Yeah, you've got to be stupid not to want to take that job, and I'm surprised nobody hasn't. The Broncos for me win this game in a serious upset. I do acknowledge that the Chiefs probably should win it, and I totally understand what you're saying about the Chiefs getting it together, because when they do, that's fucking scary, man.
Yeah, and maybe they fall apart again. They've been doing that to us all year. But on to a game where I don't think the team I'm picking is going to fall apart anytime soon. Patriots, Bills, and I am picking, and yes, I'm going to say this, the best team in the AFC, the New England Patriots, to win this game. I did not think I'd be saying that shit at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. This is the other team that we were massively off on. This is the other team. Like, when we were doing, like, we acknowledge that, hey, they might get their shit together. They've spent a lot of money in free agency, but we didn't expect this. I agree with you. They're the best all-round team in the AFC at the minute. If the Bills could run the ball, they'd be the best team in the AFC, definitely. But they can't. And if you only have one strength, which is the passing game, you don't want to come up against Bill Belichick, because he will take whatever that strength is away and choke you where you're not strong enough. You've got to be firing on all fronts on your offense to go against Bill Belichick. He'll take that throwing game away from you. He will tee off on Josh Allen when it comes to the pass rush, if you can't run the ball, and you can't run the ball.
Well, and I had a lot of people not liking my top 5 receivers last week. Bills Mafia was not happy about me leaving Stephon Diggs off that list.
They also weren't happy with me. They weren't happy with either of us for leaving Diggs. I was cordial about it and said he's probably 6, 7, 8. And then tag Jay to explain why he hates him.
Yeah, if you lifted, he almost was my 5th. He almost was my 5th receiver. But I let pettiness determine when I was stuck. But shout out to Bills Mafia, man. Those people stand up and defend theirs to the end. So good for you.
It's like him and Mike Evans. It was like, I shot somebody's child for not having those two in the top 5, is how I felt. Did you see the guy? There's a guy who went, because you just put on the thing, instead of putting Deebo Samuels, you just put Samuels. And this guy, Curtis Samuels, you've got to be joking. Curtis Samuels, what are you doing? I've corrected him for you.
Did they really? I mean, how do you think that's Kurt? I guess Deebo slips your mind, because he doesn't get the love in the national media. He actually should. So maybe he just slips people's minds. It happens, right? But yeah, I didn't think I needed to put Deebo Samuels, but maybe I'll pay attention to that even more from now on.
Curtis Samuels isn't even the best wide receiver on his team.
Hey, maybe he's like my cousin or something, and they were like, what the hell?
Yeah, Patriots to beat the Bills.
That's actually one of the games I'm more excited to watch, Patriots,
Yeah.
Bills. I think Sunday night might be a good game. It might be a sucky one. That's one of those two I'm not. But I think all the primetime games this week actually have a shot to be enjoyable because I still think the Cowboys will win, but I'm really interested to see Taysom Hill as the starting quarterback.
I think we all love seeing Taysom Hill's the starting quarterback because nobody has a fuck what's going on. And it's really
And I want him
exciting.
to get that money. I want him to get that $95 million off that contract because anybody who watches this, I'm all about players getting paid. Now, I might say you're overpaid, but that doesn't mean I don't think you should go get that money. When Dak Prescott was going for his money, I kept saying, I'm scared to pay him. You have to, but I'm scared to pay him. But if on Dak's side, I'm like, get fucking paid, my man. Get paid.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was like as well. If there's one group of people that I want to see get paid, it's referees. As far as we're going,
I see what you did
referees, grab your back, go on strike, throw no flags this week to make up for last week. Just throw.
I think I kind of like to see a game with 0 flags.
Just no flags.
Do you know by the fourth quarter they'd be tackling each other after 15 yards, though?
Yeah,
they start to get the feel of those refs, and they're
flag.
like, "Hey, they ain't calling nothing. Watch me grab this dude."
It's like 70s football. Yeah, man. Referees go on strike this week. No flag football. Sounds great. Get paid.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned because we are going to give you our top 10 power rankings for the week. All right, guys. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.